Today is Wednesday, March 9th. This is a regular meeting of the Advisory Committee on Sustainability. We have a quorum. This meeting is being called to order at 12:32. The meeting is being held virtually only on the town's GoToMeeting platform as indicated on the agenda and as posted with the town clerk and on the town's website. The first item on the agenda is to approve past minutes, which were emailed by Christine and attached to the agenda that I sent out. So the first set of minutes that we have are from last month's regular meeting, February 9th. Are there any comments on the minutes?
I read them and I have no comments, except that they're good and I thank you for doing them.
Anyone else? Oh, there's Craig. Hi, Craig. Christine, I have a couple things that just clarifying things that I can either say now or I can send to you. We can discuss. It's nothing substantive. Would you rather do that later?
Yeah, you just want to call me and we'll do it over the phone.
Okay, it's very minimal and it's just like a couple things just to tidy up things. So does any more discussion on the minutes from February 9th? So do I have a motion to approve the minutes?
So moved.
Okay, Cliff, and seconded by Dan. Okay, all in favor?
Yes.
Aye.
Aye. Anyone opposed? Any abstentions?
I'm going to abstain.
Okay, Pam's abstaining because she wasn't here. Great. So the second set of minutes is from the special meeting on February 16th. Does anyone have any comments on the minutes?
Same comment from me.
Okay. Do I have a motion to approve the February 16th minutes?
So moved.
Cliff?
Yep.
Second?
Second.
Craig? Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
And anyone opposed? And any abstentions?
I'm going to abstain.
Okay, Pam is abstaining. Okay, great. So we've approved the minutes. So Craig, I just wanted to ask you one thing. I was playing around with trying to share my screen and I'm not able to do it because of something in my settings. So if we want to look at the application, can you share your screen?
I can also unmute myself. I can share my screen.
Okay, perfect, great. And I'm going to try to get those bugs worked out. That's going to let me share my screen.
Yeah. Let me see if I can do it myself.
Okay, great. So the second item on the agenda is communications with other organizations. Does anyone have anything that they'd like to talk about here? Kathy.
So I don't know if you were going to talk at all about the green team and some of those things, so I'll just put that all.
You and Cliff were both there as well, so I thought I would give you guys the opportunity to talk because I feel like I do too much.
Well, I was going to go, so I thought I'd skip that and go to Sustainable Fairfield County.
And why don't we do that a little bit later? Do you think that fits better there?
Either way, because most of the conversation was regarding electric vehicles.
Okay.
And so wherever you would wish to do it, I'm fine.
Okay. So Cliff, do you have anything that you would like to report from the Green Team meeting?
Not really. I didn't think there was a lot said that needed to be shared. I think there's already an email sent around with a couple of things.
Right. I think that overall, though, there seems to be a pretty good sense, a desire to collaborate, different groups wanting to collaborate with others, which I think is really good and which is what we've been wanting to see. So there was some discussion about cleanups that are coming up during April and so on. I did want to mention about the Darien Nature Center. They do have an Earth Day event coming up on April 23rd. And last year, Pam and I had manned a table where we talked about the food scrap program and or home composting. We had posters for those and information to give people. They want to have that table again this year, but there's also the possibility that they may want to have someone man a table to talk about recycling. So I don't know if anyone's interested. I can't do both of them. So, and Pam and I can't do both of them. So I'm wondering if there's anyone else who might be interested in doing that.
When was that again?
It's Saturday, April 23rd, which is actually the same day that we're planning to have our compost giveaway. So it's Earth Week, so there's a lot going on that weekend. So I just will throw it out there. Everyone can think about it. If you're interested, let me know. You know, maybe we can get some other volunteers to help as well.
I would do it, Carolyn, but I think we're going to be in Maine.
Okay. Okay.
If
All
I'm
right.
down here, I'll do it.
Okay, great. The other thing I just wanted to mention is the Nature Center is working with the library on developing sort of a series of discussions on topics that might be of interest to us too, like water conservation, waste reduction and recycling, and invasive plants. Those were just a couple that were mentioned. And then I just wanted to also mention, this kind of came out of looking at the application because there's an opportunity to get 5 points if you stencil storm drains. If they lead, our storm drains go directly into Long Island Sound. And it made me remember that there had been a project that an Eagle Scout had done some number of years ago where the storm drains had medallions affixed to them that stated that they are draining directly to Long Island Sound. Long story short, we can't get credit for that, but if another group were to kind of pick up and take off and do some additional work on that, we could get some points. And there is a group of older Girl Scouts high school age that may be interested. So I just wanted to say that that's a possibility that we may be able to work on something like that. And it might also be an opportunity for us for them to apply for a community match fund, which would get us additional points too. So stay tuned.
Which category was that under?
Pardon?
Which category was that under?
Oh, that was under communications with other on the
Sustainable
application.
CTK.
I believe it was, I don't have it handy, but I think it was 2 point something. It might have been like water, might have been education.
3.1.
3.1, okay. Right, you have to like stencil the storm drains or somehow indicate that they,
Yep,
that it
got
goes directly into Long Island Sound. So there's that.
Mhm.
Anything else under communications with other organizations, Kathy?
I think one of the, a couple of important things that were mentioned by the Darien Land Trust is going to be offering, with partnering with other land trusts, a program to know your land trust, to know these properties. So they'll be dated and there'll be a time and there'll be a little tour. And their first one is in New Canaan. They will be coming back here, I think, into our properties. She was sort of announcing this new program, and it's just being announced.
Right, and
And
I saw your email chain back and forth about the possibility that we might be able to use that for our equity.
yes, and well, in connecting that to this organization and equity, use this was just to announce that this is an interesting new program, and we'll look into ways that we could maybe connect that back into the application. I also thought another interesting event that was discussed and may provide some opportunities, for sustainable actions, but also is just good for the community, is the Selleck's and Dunlap Woods Adventure Day on May 15th. Plus, wasn't there a cleanup that was another day? So there are a
Yeah.
couple of really positive community involvement activities. In fact, one of them, the town actually provides their wood chips as part of the refresh and the trail. So every time, to Carolyn's initial point, every time we talk to different people, there is a lot of collaborating going on, and
Yeah.
the more you talk, the more you find out.
Right.
And to that same thing, Parks and Rec, and I congratulate Carolyn on the Parks and Rec 25-page brochure.
Thank you. Yeah.
The food scraps, I don't know if you can see, was in the Parks and Rec brochure. So
Yeah, that was actually the poster that I created for last year's Nature Center when Pam and I manned the table for composting. So I just sent the PDF, sent it to a JPEG to Jamie, and she included it in there. So yes, so that was good. Thank you for reminding me about that.
and last thing, I
One
personally
thing-
participate.
Quickly
Oh,
on
go ahead, Craig.
the last thing you mentioned, which was the Dunlap and Selleck's Woods. So as we find that the town is kind of proceeding with these sustainability-like events, are we kind of keeping track of them and getting the documentation necessary that it was held and this is how the town was involved and this is how it was advertised, so we can count it as a sustainability event under 8.1?
From my point of view, I'm just starting to gather them. Having
Yeah.
been at the Green Team meeting yesterday and seeing
Yeah.
the brochure that came out from Parks and Rec, there were a couple that seemed like they should be
Yeah.
kind of followed up
Yeah.
with.
Yeah, and then there was one that, Craig, I've been trying to go back to January of 2019 and remember the various things that we've done. Like Cliff and I were at, remember in 2020 March, Cliff, we manned a table at the at the town hall in the gym. It was the arts festival, I think. We should be able to count that. I have to go back. I have pictures from it. I guess the short answer, Craig, is yes, we're just in the process of compiling it, but we also have to remember that in order for it to qualify, it has to be free. Like, so for example, the thing that Pam and I did last year doesn't count because there was a charge. So they have to be free events. So, yeah, I mean, we
So
should.
that's 8.1, and just
Yeah.
making sure we can pair these events that we hear about with the requirements under 8.1.
Yeah, I think, what Kathy had mentioned, where the town's providing wood chips to both Selleck's and Dunlap Woods
Yeah,
cleanup.
we don't need to go over the events, but I'm just saying, is there a person who is saying, I am responsible for making sure I get the screen captures or the minutes or the advertisement from that event and plugging it into 8.1 to get us credit for it?
Yeah, I don't think anyone claimed that particular item, but I've been making notes of them, and I think we should all be thinking about that, and then we'll compare notes. Maybe that would be the best way to do it. So then moving on to recycling under food scraps, I just wanted to report, as I usually do, what the.
Kathy had one more thing because I had
Oh, I'm
interrupted
sorry,
her.
Kathy.
Yeah.
Did you have another thing?
Just another organization, and again, it was
Sure.
just a recent meeting and something that I would like to kind of offer to the committee in more detail. But there is a Southern Connecticut chapter that's kind of been reinvigorated with the Climate Reality Project, which is where I got started with all this. And they're working with some of the recent studies that are out and are very scientific, maybe trying to develop a more kind of local user-friendly look at some of the information on adaptation and resilience. And I know Craig's done some presentations as it relates to our flooding, and this would sort of be a flip side of what's happening, and what data is showing, big picture. So as we work on that, I think it might be a place that our committee could partner with someone to present some of this information in the community, because it's sort of all the conversations that we had even at the Green Team meeting about why is there flooding and what's happening and what are we doing about it and who do we announce. It's sort of that broader, 30,000 feet kind of discussion. So
Are you volunteering?
I'm volunteering as this what is it? IC, I'm gonna forget, IDPP, major studies with everybody from the UN to many different groups that I would like to maybe recommend that as that becomes available in a condensed user-friendly form, that we use it as a forum for conversation that ties in with some of the other conversations that are happening about flooding and vulnerability and things in the community. So I just wanted to throw out that in maybe the next meeting, I'll have more details on what the information might look like if we were to offer a presentation or a flyer or something like that at the user level, not the science level.
Right. Well, that's what we would want. That's great. Anything else? Okay. So moving on to recycling, I just wanted to report on the February diversion of food scraps. It was a little bit disappointing, quite a bit less than usual. Under 3 tons for February, it was 2.79. And I don't know if that had to do with, the fact
break.
Winter break.
I think a lot of people were out of town for a whole week.
Yes,
Okay.
agreed.
Okay, so let's hope that it goes back up in March. There's that. Second item is the Sustainable Materials Management Grant process, which is due on March 31st. I've been working on that. Not really anything to report on that now, other than the fact that we decided that in order to be able to do what we want to do, we really do need to have a hose and drain. We need to change our infrastructure a little bit, so we may end up having to ask for more money than what was originally in our expression of interest. So we'll have more to report on that next time. And then Compost Giveaway. We had talked about doing that again on April 23rd and the following Saturday, April 30th, if there's any left over, which I would imagine that there would be from 20 cubic yards. And so I'm going to be looking for people to volunteer to help with the compost giveaway on those 2 Saturdays. Anything that anyone wants to talk about in that category? Okay.
Yeah,
What
do
sort
you
of
wanna-
support needs to be? Sorry, go ahead, Craig.
Oh, you go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, I'm available. Certainly can't help shovel anything because of my injury. But
Yeah.
what sort of support do you need for something like that?
Just to be there. We actually don't do the shoveling. People do it themselves. We provide shovels, and people come with their buckets, and they fill them up and put them in their car. We're just basically there as like monitors. And also when we did it in 2019, we also promoted the food scrap program. So we sold kits or handed out brochures if people weren't sure if they wanted to purchase a kit yet. So it's that type of thing. Nothing heavy.
Got it.
Provided moral support.
I could do that, Carol.
Okay, good, Dan. Yeah, I think you helped before, Dan. Thank you.
Yes.
That'd be great.
Yeah, that Saturday's fun.
Pardon?
Can you say the dates again one more time?
April 23rd and the following Saturday, which is April 30th.
I think, well, the 23rd, you and I will do the Nature Center, right?
Yeah, so yeah, we're gonna have to coordinate. So the Nature Center has 2 time slots, one in the morning, one in the afternoon. So my plan is to do one at the Nature Center and, do some time at the recycling center with the compost giveaway, try to split my time. Haven't quite figured it out yet, but I'm gonna try to recruit as many people as I can.
I can do the 23rd,
just-
Carolyn.
Oh,
not
good.
The 30th. I can't do the 13th.
I can. I'll plan on the 23rd as well. For the nature center, and
Okay,
if
thank
you
you,
need help
Pam.
at the recycle center, I can as well.
Okay,
today.
okay, and Craig, you wanted to say something?
Oh yeah, back under the SMM grant, I just
Yeah.
wanted to let you know that after our conversation, I had a follow-up conversation with Ed about how to create a covered drop-off area with some sort of slop sink, which would require water and drainage, and just give him some of my thoughts about, how it might be feasible to do inexpensively, and he was thinking about the same thing. So I just wanted to give you that update that I circled back to Ed to help us continue our effort to figure out how much it'll actually cost to do that sort of thing.
Bottom line, is it possible?
I think it is. I think
Okay,
it
good.
is without huge dollars. I do.
Okay, excellent. Excellent. So I guess you and I and Ed can talk about that.
At the right time.
We put the grant application together. So then moving on to the next item, the swap shop. Dan, is there anything to report there?
It's still slow, but I got between 11 and 12:30. There seems to be a day within that time period, so it's starting to pick up. And the other about it is because of the podcast, 2 citizens called me looking for a desk, which we provided, and we found a desk for her, and the large credenza, which we also provided for her. So people are calling me and asking for, to look for things for them. So
That's
it is
great.
well.
And you're sort of bypassing the swap shop at that point too, because are you connecting people with people, or?
No, we're they come into the swap shop, volunteers, or I see the item. We'll take a picture, send the person, and if they say they like it, we'll hold it for them.
I wonder
Okay.
if you could, I don't want to throw too much technology at this. We talked about it a little bit on the podcast, but what if in the swap shop there was a whiteboard and you could write on the whiteboard like your name and your email address and the thing that you're looking for, right? And just sits
Yes.
there on the whiteboard. And then when that thing comes in, they say, oh, there's the desk. Joe Smith was looking for a desk. Let's shoot him an email.
And there's a phone number. Yes.
Or whatever. Yeah. Like,
We'll
and
have
just so it seems like pretty easy to do, right? And
Yeah,
then
that does
Joe
seem
Smith comes in, you wipe his name off the whiteboard and you keep going.
Let's talk about where we want to put it and what we want to say on it, and that time. I think that's a great idea.
It seems like a simple way to do it. And that way, when the desk comes in, you can say, oh, let's put it inside for a day because he'd say he'd be here on Thursday to pick it up. We don't have to throw it out.
Right, exactly. Put it in there, and the next morning they can pick it up or whatever. And that, I'll take a picture of the item and send it out, and they say yes, and they pick it up.
I think that's a simple way to do it, easy for everybody to understand. Anyway.
That's great. Also,
we'll on that, see what type of board and where we can put it. Okay. Well,
maybe someone will bring in a whiteboard that they don't want.
bring in a whiteboard. Yes.
I've seen things like that come in before. So I spoke with Ed this morning also because I wanted to circle back to the idea of reopening on Saturdays because some residents are only able to get there on Saturdays. And he said that, maybe next month in April, as the weather warms up a little bit, there could sort of be like a soft reopening on Saturday, maybe every other Saturday from some of the less busy hours, like maybe 8 to 11 in the morning. And as we indicated on our trifold, and as we indicate on everything to do with the swap shop hours are always subject to change. So this might be like a nice way to kind of gauge whether, we can have it open on Saturday. The other thing that I was thinking about is, the Boy Scouts have their annual tag sale, and Craig, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it is not being held in person again this year, but there's once again kind of an online auction for
They
items.
have been running for 2 years now, or a year and a half now, rolling online auctions. They use Auction Ninja as the interface, and once you get on their mailing list, you get notified every time they're having another auction. And so they'll put generally, like 100 items per auction, and usually do a couple auctions at a time. They'll let them run for a week or two, and then you arrange a time to pick up the item that perhaps you won via the system. And it is how they are fundraising in this environment. And I believe they're going to continue with that throughout this year.
So that might be something that, because if one of the issues with the swap shop not been open on Saturday is that people just don't have a place to bring their stuff. I think this might be a nice option. It would help the Boy Scouts. And
I am going to be talking to 2 of the Andrew Shaw Memorial trustees on Friday. And I will bring this up to see if they want to advertise that through us somehow.
Okay, and then the same thing, we can advertise for them as well. And also just, I think maybe putting on our website, like other places where people, because I think one of the, the swap shop originally started out as a place where you could bring things that you maybe could not bring to other places. And, like person to person, or the DCA thrift shop, and so on and so forth. And I think maybe we should start compiling a list of alternative places where people can bring things, because I think a lot of people, especially so many new people to town, they may not even be aware of some of these other places. So I think that might.
What we've found, again, as we have attempted to clean up from tag sales in the past, is that many organizations have kind of the same problem we do. They have a limited bandwidth to be able to accept a lot of things, right? It's the same thing us. We only have a certain size swap shop. If it's not gone within a day or two, it's gotten rid of. And so similarly, a lot of these other organizations, they just can't take like everybody bringing everything on a Saturday, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's kind of a point.
Furniture, because it's too large and it takes too much space.
Yeah. So, but anyway, I like the idea. I think it's a good idea. I think it has merit, and I will do my little piece with the organization and then get back to you.
Okay, sounds great. Anything else on swap shop? Okay, moving on to the next item. Last month I had reported that I had reached out to the who I think is the faculty advisor for the Eco Citizens Club to see if there might be some students in that group that might be interested in helping us work with us and promote some of our initiatives. I did not hear back. I did follow up with a phone call. I have not heard back. So, I think it would be great if we could get some energy from some of these high school students, especially, some of the videos that they do could really help promote some of our initiatives. So I'm hoping that we can, if anyone has any other ideas on how to recruit some of this young talent, that would be great. So under next item, marketing, outreach, and education, I emailed a PDF of the last article that I did, which was on quote unquote sustainable Darien for the March issue. I don't know if you've had a chance to read it. I hope I did justice. Kathy, did I do justice to the topic? You're muted.
It's great. I have read the article. I got it at home. I saw the PDF. I think it's great.
Okay, good. And Kathy,
Yeah, I thought it was excellent too.
Oh, thank you, Pam. Thank you. There's only like 500 words, so there's only so much that you can say. You try to like distill it down to the most important points. Kathy has written an article for the next issue, and do you want to just briefly talk about what that's going to be on, Kathy?
The article I wrote took the topic of greening your events or running clean events. So we basically described kind of high level detail ways that you could make summer events more sustainable from a point of view of reducing plastics, from the point of view of managing waste, from the point of view of collaborating with community partners on, educating, whether it be the habitat your event's in, if it's a sailing thing at the water or if it's in a field, if there were things you could do. So I used the certification for clean regattas as the basis for the argument that comes from Sailors for the Sea. So, and credited their clean regatta certification as the place, and tried to say you just pick one, pick two, find something, have a green team, put your trash strategically located, have compost, don't have, have refillable water stations, whatever. So that's the article synthesizes that. And there are many organizations in the sailing world that do try to participate and actually achieve certification for their events. I don't believe there's that kind of stuff for swimming or soccer or whatever, but hopefully the article will give some ideas as to how to begin to approach holding cleaner events.
I saw a draft of the article. It's good. And when it comes out in print, I'll scan it and I'll send the PDF around so everyone can read it. Because I know Darien Neighbors doesn't go to every household in Darien currently. So I'll send that around. The other thing, the Beautification Commission, there are some members who are interested in helping us promote and publicize the food scrap program. So we're working with them on that. And then our social media. Pam, just have you had any issues with the logins, or I know you've been.
I have to be honest. I have really been in recovery mode from this surgery. I have not.
Okay, no problem.
It is on my list, but I'm sort of just off of disability, back into work this week, and yeah. So I will ramp up. Promise.
I just want to be mindful of the time because I know we're about halfway through. Under Energy Task Force, I just wanted to mention, I checked with Ed. There's nothing to report on solar array for the town hall. And then with regard to EV, Kathy, did you want to talk about the Sustainable Fairfield County meeting with the electric school buses and electric police vehicles that you had mentioned in your email?
Yes. So Sustainable Fairfield County is organized and run. One of the organizers of that group is a woman named Daphne Dixon. Cliff has met her, who runs an organization called Live Green, and they work to promote, clean energy transportation as one of the major things that they do. And at the monthly Sustainable Fairfield County meeting, which has people from, there were representatives from Norwalk, Westport, Fairfield, Wilton. Some of the people work on their sustainable CT applications. Others are just involved in efforts in their community. But a large part of the conversation was about the situation with electric buses. And just to give this group kind of a news, because last year I talked about grants. So the DEEP did give out grants for 43 new electric school buses last year. It's about $10 million worth of grant money that went to Middletown, New Britain, Hamden, Stamford, a couple other communities. And they weighted the communities that got the grants sort of on an environmental justice scale, where there were air quality needs that would prioritize their getting a jump start with an electric vehicle. And basically the state of Connecticut has 45 of 8,000 buses now that are electric, and the companies are DATCO for a student and another company, STA. And in that first round, they had to be very old buses, 2009. So it wasn't anything Darien could get involved with. But there is going to be another round through, I think, EPA, possibly through some of the federal money, to fund another round of electric vehicles. And in conjunction with some of the longer term goals through TCI, which we didn't adopt, or also through some of the legislation. There's a bill in front of the Senate this week, SB4, which lays out how to get electric buses into the state of Connecticut and how quickly. So, and part of the problem has been the contracting length when you sign a contract with a bus company. And so there's been some legislation to try and smooth that out, to make the risk of who has to fund this and how long you have a contract. But there's a lot of work going on. There will be future grant money, and there is state legislation that says that electric buses are coming and will be here, within a decade. And the goal is a significant number. So the sooner the better. The Daphne and her staff will host what they would call sort of I wrote down the name, but now a clarifying session.
That's what you had email.
I know that they would come and speak to somebody in our community, just from an information point of view. Where are you at? Have you thought of it? Who are your contracts with? How long are they? What are the obstacles to any kind of electrification of your bus fleet or your municipal fleet or anything like that? And they'd spend about an hour in a conversation. They are very well versed in electrification of both buses and municipal fleets. And there would be no charge for a clarification session. Then they could say, well, here's where we think you're at, and you've got this far to go, and somebody else may have a different amount to go. And they have a lot of resources and contacts with the companies that provide the buses or the other vehicles. So I would like to recommend that we have an informal or a formal clarifying session with Ed or whomever he felt was a good person. The flip side of this is they worked closely with Westport, that has the first what do you call it, a chase car? What do you call a police car, that pursuit vehicle? Westport has a fully electric pursuit vehicle, the first in the nation. So they've gained a lot of experience. So the knowledge of the maintenance, the costs, when the return of investment is, who you need to talk to, who the smart people are, where you're going to put your chargers. There's a lot of that's being developed right here in Fairfield County.
Cliff had gotten a lot of that information too.
Cliff,
was it
Cliff
Westport?
met those people in the fall at the electric vehicle forum or fair in Fairfield or Westport, wherever they held it. And it would seem like we could benefit from just kind of knowing where we're at, or what we don't know, or what we could learn from people that have, without, I hate to say this, reinventing the wheel. That's a really bad pun.
Okay.
So I'm wondering, from this point of view of this committee, if we would take advantage of a conversation with our transportation folks, be it at the school and or the town level, just to kind of start to see where we all are. And these aren't things that are going to happen in a day or a week or a month. These are you're making multi-year plans for a future at the time of your contract renewal, at the time of the negotiations. And I think the thing was, if in fact some grant money comes up, and while it's generally being leaned towards towns with other issues, equity issues, the air quality is a big part, and being along this 95 corridor would try to keep us from being precluded from grant money because of our location. Even though we would not be one of the communities with some other environmental justice issues. Any thoughts?
So
Anybody?
we bring this up, and Ed has got such a full plate with everything going on, the flooding and everything else. But he said that he was trying to get something into the budget for it. And he also said that he had the various things that had been given to him, like the resources available and so on. So, I mean, I think to know what more to do, we probably need to have some feedback from Ed about anything that we can help him with. But my sense is at the moment, he either doesn't know exactly what help he needs or he doesn't need any, either way.
Well,
Well, I
he
think
said
the-
that, oh, I'm sorry, go
I was
ahead.
going to say, the point is that he may or may not need help, and the bus part is not in Ed's wheelhouse. I'm sorry. That's the school department. So they're sort of two issues. And Ed has a lot of questions. I mean, when we spoke to him, he's like, I'm not sure if I should look into EVs or hybrids, and where's the charging going to be? And I think a lot of that information you could have in a 1-hour dialogue with someone who's been working on and implementing these things and has the contacts like the police chief in Westport to anybody else that's doing this that have the experience that you can then get in touch with. So I'm
agree.
sort of looking at the town, and then I'm looking at the school, and I was thinking of going directly to the superintendent and asking who, if anybody is, works on their, is thinking about or working on EVs in
think that's a
line
good
with the bus contracts.
I think it's a good idea to reach out to somebody in the school system because
Mhm.
we don't really,
We don't know.
yeah. I did, just backing up to Ed, I know that he said Kate is looking for grant money for the acquisition of, whether it's a hybrid or an electric vehicle. There's grant money out there. So I think what they get and how they use it is sort of will be determined by what grant money they can get. So I think that's where they're at, but definitely open to, all of the above. Anything else on that issue? Moving on to legislative updates very, very quickly, because I know we want to get to our application. I just want, because this is an issue that we've talked about for years now. This whole thing with the gas cylinders. I don't know if you remember, but last year it was proposed, but it was tied to bundled with both tires and smoke detectors. This year the bill was raised just by itself. It has passed out of the Environment Committee, and I believe now it's in the Legislative Commission's office. So we'll see where that goes. It was passed unanimously with strong bipartisan support, as was EPR for tires, another House bill. There were 2 people who voted against it, but those are just 2 things that we've been talking about. So I just wanted to give you an update on those. And now moving on to sustainable CT.
Carolyn?
Yes.
Just before that, because you said legislative updates, and regarding that, Senate Bill 4 has a public hearing on Friday. It's the Transportation and Environment Committee.
Okay.
The comments are from that I have here from Matt McCunis at the Green Bank. It's a priority bill apparently, and it includes speeding up the state EV bus procurement target. It's got some right to charge legislation, the cheaper board and incentive updates. It's got some medium and heavy duty EV voucher programs and mandatory targets for electric school bus deployments, plus the school bus contracting term length, which has to change in order to somehow give school districts and bus companies the chance to manage the risk. Right now, they can't have a contract for more than 5 years by state statute.
I saw a nice.
So anyways, that is Friday. And again, that's why I keep thinking that talking both to the school and our school officials and our town officials, because these things are going to, I don't know whether this will pass or not, but there's a push to move the charging stations, and with some of this will come funding, I'm sure.
Right. I did see a nice summation of that bill. I think it was tweeted out by Will Haskell, and I can forward it to everyone.
Okay.
So it gives all the various components of it and when the public hearing is.
It's Friday.
Friday.
The public hearing is Friday morning
Yes.
at
Okay,
11
so
a.m.
I'll send that out after this meeting. So then, okay, so now we're ready to move on to our application. Just everyone is aware that Chad has left us. He's going, it sounds, onto a great new job for the city of Bridgeport. We will be getting new fellows, Kathy.
In the
Do
summer.
you know anything about that?
Their applications are open now.
Okay, so so we're kind of,
I'm gonna hang on for a minute. I've got to mute.
oh, okay. So we're gonna kind of just be working directly. If we have any questions, we can always email. I think it's info at Sustainable CT. So where would we like to start? Who would like to start?
I nominate Tony.
Okay.
Hi, Tommy.
Good. So the last time we spoke, I was collecting all the information of the areas that were blank on the portfolio managers. So I gathered the rest of that information and sent it over to Amy Thompson from UConn.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's where the interns step in, and she is, they are putting all that stuff in the portfolio manager, and they're going to let me know if they see anything that sticks out that's missing. And then on the two firms that I was speaking with, one that has done this verification of the, you know, the points that you're given through the portfolio manager program. One has done it. One is another company, and we've never worked with them. The other company we've worked with, and they haven't done it. They both seem very capable of doing it. Once we hear back from UConn saying, we'll kind of talk together. These are the buildings you should use to get verified. Because apparently you don't get all your stuff. You don't go and get all your stuff verified. You only get the things that will get you those points verified. Then these engineering firms can give us kind of pricing on their fee for doing that. And so they're kind of the last step, and we'll move forward there. So at this point, we're just waiting for UConn. I just sent it to her, some of it Friday, some of it just 2 days ago on Monday.
It's two pieces. The first piece is we should just get credit for their
Portfolio
full
manager.
creation of the data.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so we'll get a few points for that.
And that
then,
anchors us in that category, right?
Yep, exactly. And then we can use that data to say, oh, there's actually 3 buildings on here that are good candidates for EPA certification. So let's now figure out how to do that.
Yeah. So that's kind of where we left off, where I left off with Amy from UConn, and I'll contact her in a week or so and see what their timing looks like. I get the feeling it's not going to take them that long. I think it's pretty administrative for them at this point because they're pros. I tried to enter one of the new meters in, and I don't think I did it right. So I'll leave it up to her.
They're the experts, right?
Yeah.
Okay, thanks, Tony.
Yep.
I'll give you 60 seconds.
Yeah.
So status quo, I'm working with planning and zoning on the stuff under housing. I'm working with Park and Rec on trying to get a sign for the porous pavement at Highland Farm. I'm working with Darien at DPW on trying to get MSW numbers out of our private haulers. And so there's been action and activity on all those fronts as I try to pursue the point categories I'm responsible for, and that's it.
Okay, and thank you for including me on all your emails. I do read them. I don't always understand everything, but I do read them, and I put them in a safe place so that I can refer back to them. Thank you. I appreciate that. Cliff? I know
So-
you've been busy too.
I have been busy, but the somewhat narrow focus. I have gotten the last piece of information I needed from Town Hall to complete so that I can load it into the system. The two different things that I've been doing. Bear with me. Action 12. Here we go. 12.4. Homelessness. And I mean, from my back and forth with the people at Sustainable CT, I think we're going to get 20 points for this, maybe
Wow.
a little more. So I expect to have that all input actually today. And what's relevant to me here is that I'd love to have, like, if we had an intern or somebody at Sustainable CT who could look at it and let us know if it needs anything more. But I guess I can wait till June.
I think, Cliff, if I'm not mistaken, and maybe when Kathy comes back on, she can correct me, but I think that they said when you fill out the application, if you click, instead of it saying planned, if you click whatever the word is that comes up, I don't know if it's done or
Complete.
I think that they then look at it. I think they look at anything that's designated as complete. I thought that's what they said.
Well, I
So
intend
we
to
get kind
put
of
this,
immediate feedback.
I intend to upload it and put complete today.
Okay, good.
And I've started doing, I have a preliminary write-up on watershed education, which I've shared with Kathy, and I'm waiting for her to give me some feedback on that.
Okay.
But
Great.
I still have a number of other things to work on.
Yeah, me too. Anyone else? Was that it, Cliff, for you?
Yeah.
Pam or Christine?
No, I do have a quick question. Who do I contact to update the town's website? Who's doing that now? Is it still the same person who was doing
I
3
can
years
do
ago?
that. If you want to send it to me, I can help with that.
I
Whatever
just
you
can't
need.
seem to find a link to the Chamber of Commerce on our town website anywhere.
Linda
need to remove-
O'Leary is who I think updates the website, but is that right, Pam?
Say it again.
Linda O'Leary, I think, is
Yeah.
the person who updates the website.
Yeah.
Or if it's not her, you can send it to her and she will she'll
Maneuver.
contact the right person.
Yeah, Linda's the right point person there.
Okay, Linda's
Yeah.
the right point person. And yeah, there's not a link for the Chamber of Commerce on the town website.
Not
Our
that I
website
can.
is a little, we've discussed this in the past. There's so much information on the town website, but it's often hard to find it.
I've been
So
poking, but I'm still poking. We'll see what I can do. I'll just email her. Maybe she can tell me that I'm just poking in the wrong place.
okay, Pam, I noticed on the Sustainable CT, I tried to add you as a person who could edit it, but you haven't yet accepted their invitation to create an account.
Maybe
You
it went to spam. I don't know.
Okay.
I didn't get it.
Okay. So I did that again today. I think
Okay,
it was for the
I'll look
third
again.
time, so maybe it is going to your spam folder.
I haven't
And
seen anything.
yeah, no, they just said that it says that you must create a website account. The invitation, the original invite was resent but has not been accepted. So yeah, maybe check
All
your
right, I'll
spam
look for
folder.
junk. Yeah.
Okay, that would be good there. So I don't
And
know.
you're sending it to the Hotmail account? Is that?
Yeah, I used,
Okay.
I entered pamsparkman@hotmail.com. Is that correct?
Yeah, I can access that, but I don't see it. I'm looking right now.
Odd. Okay, because I think this was the third time that I put your name in and the third time that they said that. So maybe we'll have to, you know what, let me, I will contact info@Sustainable CT and see if I can, maybe they can manually do something.
Yeah, I'm looking right now. I don't see it.
Okay. I don't know if Kathy is coming back or not. We had talked about having an in-between meeting, special meeting, just to talk about sustainable CT applications. Do we want to do that again before the next meeting?
I do not require one, but I'll defer to everybody else.
Anyone? Cliff?
I'm sort of debating. Having the in-between meetings kind of holds my feet to the fire.
Okay.
But on the other hand, I just think that we've done that twice recently, and maybe we can not have an interim right now, but then after our next meeting have an interim.
Okay.
I don't know. Whatever you want to do. I'm actually not feeling great right now. I think I may have COVID.
Oh, no.
Oh, no.
Oh, I'm so sorry to hear that. Definitely feel better. So we'll skip the special meeting this time. If anybody wants to call me and talk about any specific items, you all have my number and my email. Otherwise, we will have our next our next regularly scheduled meeting for April 13th, Wednesday at 12:30. And is there anything else that anyone would like to say?
What's the date for the mulch again?
The 23rd. The
That's a
compost.
Wednesday. Wednesday?
No, Saturday, April 23rd.
And just so you know that April 13th is vacation week. I won't be here.
Oh,
Sorry.
It's April 23rd, not March 20th. It's April 23rd.
No, not March. No, April 23rd. Okay, so do we want to, we have other people here who might be affected by school break. Do we want to pick a different
Yeah,
day?
since it seems to be that will be a 5-week jump. We want to maybe hold next month's meeting on the 6th as a compromise to not having the interim meeting, but trying to avoid the April.
That's
Great
a
idea.
great idea.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea.
Yep. So
And then
12
and what you have to do, Carolyn, is that will have to be a special meeting because it varies from the advertised schedule that the town clerk has for the entire year. So you end up canceling the regular meeting on the 13th and then hosting a special meeting on the 6th.
Okay, so I send out the agenda with the designation special meeting, just like I did for the last one.
Yep.
Okay, and cancel the regularly scheduled meeting. Okay, I mean, I can figure that out offline. Or if I have questions, I'll call you as I always do. Anything else? Okay, do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Okay. Great. So the meeting is adjourned at 1:30, right on the dot. Great.
Nailed it.
Very
I'm gonna
nice.
stop the recording. Stop.